welcome to another season of our programming, Living with COVID. Now, this pandemic has posed fresh challenges to all of us, and we have to come up with innovative ways to deal with this. This week, we're going to be focusing on women's health. Managing women health-related concerns like PCOS, pregnancy, menopause in these COVID times has been a big challenge for many. Women are afraid of visiting their gynecologists and obstetricians because of the fear of infection and the challenges of actually traveling to the clinic. Due to these challenges and issues that are being faced by women, USV partnered with NDTV to address all these issues, and joining us on the show today to talk to us about this and the concerns that many women have, we have Dr. Sanjay Gupte, who is a well-recognized and popular doctor based in Pune. He's been in clinical practice for the past 40 years and is looked upon as a senior icon in the field of gynecology. Thank you so much for being with us. We also have Dr. P. Palamba, a gynecologist and obstetrician in Barkatpur in Hyderabad and has an experience of 45 years in these fields. She's widely followed for her advice and thoughts on the subjects of gynecology and obstetrics. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, very, very challenging times for many women. And in these times of COVID, what advice, Dr. Gupte, would you like to give to women who are looking to come to your clinic for a physical examination? Is it safe?
Right. I think the first and foremost thing we must tell, all our patients and mothers is that don't panic. There is no need for fear. This pandemic, Corona, is going to be with us for quite some time, and we have to learn to live with it. So it's important that one should not fear, but at the same time, one should take precautions. When you're coming to a clinic, it's better whenever possible to take appointment, so that there is no crowding at the clinic. Then use a good mask. Then, one has to remember that the only way this virus can reach us is either through the mouth or through the nose or through the eyes. So if we keep our eyes properly covered, if we keep a good mask, and if we don't, touch with our hands or face or this thing, wash our hands frequently, keep your sanitizer at hand. So these are and of course, physical distancing is now something that we are learning very fast and we should follow. But if we do that, I think we need not fear. There should be no panic. That's very important during pregnancy, especially.
Absolutely. And I'd like to pose that question to Dr. Palamba as well. What would you tell women who are, wanting to come to your clinic for physical examination, and when they ask you, is it safe?
Yeah, I tell them first to call me up, and then, I would like to listen to their complaints, and it depends upon whether they are pregnant or non-pregnant. If they are non-pregnant, unless it's an emergency, I would tell them not to come to the hospital. And especially if it's an emergency, yes, they have to come to the hospital. But then, they have to come with only one attendant, and preferably in their private vehicle, so that, and wear a mask, definitely. And if possible, wear gloves also, and come to the hospital. And if the woman is pregnant and if she has a problem, definitely she has to come to the hospital. Again, she has to wear a mask, and better she comes with in a private vehicle. That would be better, And more so in pregnant women, when they have a problem, it's always preferable that they come to the hospital, because video call may not suffice to examine her or listen to her complaints. If they are minor complaints, we can always do something. But if they are major complaints, like suppose a baby is not moving, or suppose she has started bleeding or leaking, then she has to definitely come to the hospital.
Right, absolutely. And Dr. Gupte, so if they do have to come to the hospital, of course, as Dr. Palamba said, it's preferable they travel in a private vehicle. But if they can't, what advice and what precautions should they take when traveling?
Yes, if they are to come, and many of them will have to come by the public transport. Now, public transport is, being sanitized. People are taking care, that also physical distancing. But again, it is important for the patient herself to take care. And wearing mask, wearing gloves, wearing a goggle is always a good thing. Just don't allow that coronavirus to get into you. And as I said, talking loudly, somebody who is sneezing, being away from them. So all these so-called respiratory etiquettes are also quite important for us.
Right, absolutely. And Dr. Balamba, what is your advice to couples who may be planning a baby during this time? We don't know when this pandemic will end, and is this a safe time to plan a baby?
Well, it's good. It's a very dicey question, as a matter of fact, because if we tell them not to plan a pregnancy, like you said, we don't know when this pandemic is going to go away. But then we all know that placenta has lots of vessels, and coronavirus has a predilection for these vessels. So in the third trimester, that is, when they are about to deliver or when they are more than 9 months pregnant, the placenta is likely to get infected because of the blood vessels, and the baby may get infected. So though there are very few cases which are reported, about 1.4%. But if the mother can transmit the infection in the third trimester, how about the first trimester, that is the first 12 weeks when the organs are forming? So we don't know about it. Though there are very few cases, like I said, 1.4% is the recorded number, but we don't know what happens. Though as of now, we don't think that there are very major malformations like in rubella virus or Zika virus. But then, we don't know the long-term implications, the subtle problems which the baby may have. So if they are young couples, just married, I would like to tell them to postpone their pregnancy for a while. But if they are already into pregnancy and if they are already planning, or if the woman is quite old enough and planning her first pregnancy, then again, I would tell her to plan the pregnancy. But then in the first 12 weeks, I would tell her to cocoon herself, isolate herself, so that at least she won't get infected and we won't have this problem.
Absolutely. And, pregnancy itself is such a stressful time. There's so many anxieties. You have so much anxiousness. And then on top of it, the pandemic. Now, Dr. Gupta, it doesn't even end just, during the pregnancy. It's after the baby is born as well. And is the baby at a higher risk in the midst of this pandemic?
See, the thing again to remember is, the baby has to be with the mother. And, we have a tradition that when a baby is born, everybody wants to come and, visit the mother and the baby and at least see the baby and all that. I think that is something now we have to definitely curtail. We have to see that, less people come, and if at all they come, they keep a distance and not, cuddle the baby and, handle the baby too much. That's very important. And but otherwise, surprisingly, the babies are done much better than the adults that we know. All the statistics says that even if the baby, very minuscule of patients, even if the baby is infected, either immediately after birth, they are doing well and they come out very well. And so again, as I say, it's very important that we should reassure the patients and not panic about all these issues. That's something, because we are seeing so many young girls who are pregnant, and they are absolutely paranoid. They don't want to get out of the room, get out of the house, and that's something that's going to stress them up and worry about the baby. So there's no need. Fortunately, as Dr. Balamba also said, it's not like Zika virus, which is actually affecting the baby. As far as we know today, all research shows that babies inside are not affected, their development-wise, their brain development-wise. So I think that way it's a fairly so far a good happening.
All right, and an important point about keeping, the well-meaning relatives away and, protecting the baby from too much interaction with anyone from outside. Dr. Balamba, now, God forbid, should the woman who's pregnant actually develop fever and cough and, other symptoms that we know are of COVID, what steps should she then take?
Yeah, the first thing I would tell her is, it may be influenza, it may be COVID. We don't know, because right now it is the influenza season also. But she should contact a physician first and then get herself tested. And the best test will be RT-PCR only at this point of time. And if she is negative, well and good. She has to isolate herself, and then, the family has to cooperate with her. And like Dr. Gupta was saying, pregnancy is a stressful situation, but then, if she turns positive, definitely she has to isolate herself. And then, it's preferable if she has a room in her own house with an attached bath where she can isolate herself. It's well and good. If not, it's better that she gets admitted in an isolation facility. It is like any other adult who is getting infected. So just because she's pregnant, she should not start worrying that her baby is going to be affected and she is going to be affected. And so far, we have not found that pregnant women behave differently from the other adults who are getting infected, non-pregnant people, women or men for that matter. So men, of course, not pregnant. Anyway, so she should not panic. But if she is developing severe symptoms, like severe acute respiratory infection, which we call as SARI, definitely she has to be admitted. She may require oxygen. And even then she should not panic, because most of our patients are recovering. Our recovery rate is very, very good.
Right. And Dr. Gupta, now women have to go for an ultrasound examination during pregnancy. Now that's another issue that a lot of women, are worried about. What is the frequency of these, and what precautions can she take, during an ultrasound to avoid infection?
Right. Very important point. And, what we have done is we have changed our antenatal protocols a little. Now MCA has also allowed telecommunication. So the visits to the hospital can be comparatively minimized. But there are some certain ultrasound scans which are, in early pregnancy, like between 11 and 13 weeks, which helps dating as well as to find out, rule out something like Down syndrome. Then there are scans around 18 to 20 weeks, which rule out the anomalies in the baby. Later on, there is a scan, what are called as growth scans, around 30 weeks. So some of these scans are very important. And for that, the patients obviously will have to come to the clinical ultrasound. Fortunately, all the clinics and even ultrasound clinics are well geared up now to take care of the women. First, they call them with appointments. Secondly, the clinics are properly sanitized after every patient. Even the equipment for the ultrasound is properly sanitized, and there is a distance between even some physicians and the patient. Some people have actually have got partitions or curtains, and so all due precaution is being taken in I believe every single clinic, because doctors themselves are worried about getting infected. So everybody is taking precautions. So essential scans need to be done. We must realize that we have in India 25 million births every year, and though our maternal mortality is reduced now to 122 per 100,000, still that means there are almost 30,000 deaths due to during childbirth. So this is very important. Though we have this new pandemic, but our old pandemic is still very much there, and that's why full care has to be taken during antenatal period and during childbirth, because every child and every mother is important, that we cannot forget.
Right. Dr. Palamba, I want to talk more about what you were saying regarding if a woman does test COVID positive when she's pregnant. You said, try and isolate at home, or otherwise go to a facility. And now everyone doesn't have the luxury of being able to isolate at home. That's also somewhat a big challenge. But I can imagine women being very worried about having, to isolate in a facility or go to a hospital.
Yeah, that is true, because you see, they are under a lot of stress, but they shouldn't worry. Because nowadays they are allowed to carry their phones with them. They can be in contact with others, and if they are COVID positive, they are definitely moved to a COVID hospital where they are really taken care of. The government has done much to be taken care of to take care of these type of patients. And in our own state, Gandhi Hospital is the designated COVID hospital. They have conducted more than 300 deliveries so far in their facility. So they should not worry about it at all.
All right. So you feel there's nothing to worry about, and, do go to those COVID hospitals where protocols are in place. Well, important points being made here. Well, we'll slip into a short break and return to this very important issue of taking care of women's health in the midst of this pandemic. Welcome back to our special show. We're focusing on women's health during this pandemic, especially if you're pregnant. What sort of, protocols should you follow? Well, let's go across to Dr. Gupta first. And Dr. Gupta, what are the protocols for antenatal checkups and investigations that a woman should have during her pregnancy, during COVID? Does the protocol change, or does it remain the same?
See, basically the protocols are not changed because, as I said, the pregnancy and pregnancy care and complications are very important. But what has changed is the number of visits. Now, all our doctors are available for consultations, and that's why when there are minor complaints, they can be taken care of during teleconsultations. But the initial visits, and now we know what we call as a inverted pyramid of antenatal care. That means initial days, first 3 months of the pregnancy are actually more important as much as the last month of the pregnancy. And so the care should start very early. We now know that whatever the woman does, her lifestyle, her nutrition, her even thinking and stressful thinking does affect the baby, and that is what is called as the epigenetic effects of the mother and her environment on the baby. So it's important that all mothers start taking care. The protocols are not drastically changed. It's very important to take all the supplements during pregnancy. The medications should be kept to the minimum, but there are vaccines to be taken which need to be definitely addressed, like usual vaccines like tetanus toxoid or tetanus diphtheria vaccine or H1N1 vaccines are something that are important. And of course, looking for pregnancy complications. We know in our country the gestational diabetes or diabetes in pregnancy is comparatively very common, almost 13 patients. So percent patients, and even hypertension during pregnancy is very common. So these are the issues that can cause further complications in third trimester, and especially during this corona pandemic. And so they have to be diagnosed early, and they have to be treated and controlled properly.
All right. And Dr. Balamba, also when a woman comes in to the emergency room when she's in labor, what sort of protocols do you follow? Because you'll have to worry about her safety, also the safety of the people in that emergency room. So what sort of precautions are now taken in the labor room?
It depends upon whether the woman is a booked case, that is, she has been visiting the hospital when she was pregnant, or she is coming in an emergency as an unbooked case. So any unbooked case, we feel that they are COVID suspects. And we have designated labor rooms. No patient in labor is neglected, to be frank. And then we also take the proper precautions because the healthcare professionals also have to take precautions not to get infected.
Absolutely.
So we admit them, we see whether they are progressing in labor. And in the labor room, we have a designated labor room only for suspect patients and designated labor room for the COVID positive patients also. And ICMR also has told us now that any woman about to deliver within a week or so, where we suspect they will deliver, it's better to get a COVID test done so that we know whether they are positive or not. And once we know that whether they are positive or not, we are admitting them. And in the labor room, only one healthcare professional, that is the person who is going to deliver the patient, and the woman who has come in labor also is in the PPE kit. The doctors are in PPE kit, the nurse is in the PPE kit, and minimum number of attendants will be allowed into the labor room. So one doctor, one nurse, one sanitation worker, all in PPE kit, and as far as possible not to move out of the room. They should be there only confined. And it's going to be quite a tough thing because, normal labor takes quite a long time. And they have to do this so that, they are protected. Of course, not all labor rooms have this negative pressure, which is actually prescribed. But we have to take precautions to see that, the woman also wears anyway, she is in a PPE kit, she is wearing a mask. And all the others are also in PPE kit wearing masks. And as far as possible, they follow all the hygienic protocols. And what we call as in universal precautions, now they are known as standard precautions, so that we don't get infected. And we have been following this in HIV positive patients also, so it is not very difficult for us to follow. But then comes the question of birth companion. Usually we allow the birth companions to be with the patient who is laboring, but then are they willing to wear a PPE kit and stay with the patient, not move out of the room? That is the question. If they are willing, we allow them. If they are not willing, our people are anyway there as birth companions, so they take care of it. And just because she is in labor, it doesn't mean that we have to do a C-section for all COVID positive patients, though China has been doing that and some Other hospitals also they have been doing it. But at least we have been allowing normal labors for them also. And then, if the woman is COVID positive, we are testing the baby also. We separate the baby. The neonatologist is also available. And the neonatologist and the equipment that they have, it is kept a little away from the labor room so that, the baby immediately doesn't get infected. And all precautions are followed. So, in the theatre also, operation theatre also, if the woman requires a cesarean section, in the operation theatre also, all the protocols are followed. And usually we use what is known as regional anesthesia and not a general anesthesia, where the woman is completely unconscious. Regional anesthesia, she is conscious. They give an injection in the back of the person. And this is much better to avoid infection to the healthcare professionals first. There also the woman is in the PPE case and minimum personnel are inside the theatre. And we are very, very careful and we don't hurry through. The one problem is, in case of an emergency, we have to do what is known as a crash cesarean section, then it becomes very big problem because all of us have to wear the PPE kits. The time is lost in that, but then we can't help it.
All right. Yes, I can imagine even for doctors, it's a stressful time and so many doctors are catching coronavirus and that's something very, very worrying. Dr. Gupte, also the issue about breastfeeding. This is something that's been talked about a lot about breastfeeding during COVID and whether if the woman is COVID positive, should she continue to breastfeed her baby?
Yes, even if she is COVID positive, she should breastfeed the baby because for the baby, the breastfeeding is something which is very important, not only as a nutrition, but it builds up immunity. And that's very important in today's time. Of course, precautions have to be taken. If the mother is not too ill to, feed herself, then she can feed the baby. The proper precautions like sanitation, hand washings, then wearing masks, not coughing, into the baby's face. All these issues have to be followed for the babies and very, very carefully that needs to be done. But if the mother is ill, she cannot feed, then using breast pump also is allowed and using breast milk. But then there should be dedicated breast pump in these situations, not common breast pump for many patients. And of course, if the patient is very, very severely ill, then the baby needs to be taken care of by the family members. But even then, they have to take care because it's important that the family members themselves take proper care so that the baby doesn't get infected through them. But breastfeeding, there is nothing better than breastfeeding for the baby, and so that should be encouraged, no matter even if the patient is COVID positive.
All right. Well, many, valid and informative points there. And I'm sure many of our viewers are very happy to hear, a lot of their concerns being addressed there. Thank you so much, Dr. Gupta and Dr. Balamba for joining us and speaking about this very important issue of women's health in the pandemic and pregnancy in the pandemic. With that, time for us to slip into a short break. We'll have more news on the other side. Stay with us.